We have a collection of maples, but look at these beautiful purple berries. And it looks like red blooms. It is actually blooming right now. Look at this. I've already put it on my list to grow again next year. And it has these pretty daisy-like blooms. And look at the beautiful coloration that it has right now in the month of October. It is the end of October and there are still some things looking really pretty in the garden. So I thought that we could go through and do the fall garden tour. Hi, it's Steph. Welcome back to my garden. We'll start here with my hedge of little lime hydrangeas that have gone through all of the color changes. Most recently, they had their beautiful pink coloration, and now you can see that they're going bronze and have that tan coloring, which is their final stage of color. After this, they'll start to have yellow leaves. The leaves will drop, and we'll be left with just these mop heads that actually look really pretty when the snow sits on them. As we head this way into our patio here, the bamboo still looks good. In fact, last year it was evergreen. So throughout the winter, we still had color on this bamboo. But something I want to show you over here is this really pretty plant. This is a sedum. It is called Cyboldi, also known as October Daphne. And look at the beautiful coloration that it has right now in the month of October. It almost looks like it has this rainbow coloring. There is a ton of new growth in the center. And most of the blooms are past their prime now, but they had these really pretty pink blooms. So this is a really interesting plant. When it's all green throughout the season, it almost looks like eucalyptus, but it's actually a sedum. And heading down into our Japanese maple garden, we have a collection of maples that really shine in the spring. And we created a video that I can link down below if you ever wanted to check it out. But there are a couple of maples that still have really pretty fall color. One of them is here in the garden, and a couple of them are potted, and we'll get to those a little bit later. So the one that is really pretty here in this garden is our Ariadne. This one gets a burnt orange color in the spring. It's a bit brighter orange in the spring. Then it goes green in the summer before starting to go orange again in the fall as the sun hits the top of the leaves. And so it's just starting to get that really pretty orange coloring, and pretty soon it'll go all orange and then it'll drop its leaves and be done for the season. But this is a really pretty one, the Ariadne. But recently I did a little bit of the fall switcheroo in this area. I took out some plants, moved them around the garden. One of them was an Ito peony that I had right in this space. It wasn't getting enough sun, so it wasn't blooming for me. So I took it out, and what I did was I placed a couple of these caramel heucheras instead. And I think that these are a really beautiful variety of heuchera. Now, I've mentioned before on my channel that heucheras don't do that well for me. They perform better for me in a pot, but in the ground, they start to get smaller and smaller each year. And so this variety I have found to do a little bit better for me than some of the others that I have tried. And I like this combination of the ferns with the caramel heuchera with the Ascot rainbow euphorbia, which you can actually see with the cooler temperatures is starting to get a little bit of that pink coloration on the variegated leaves. It's a really pretty euphorbia. Heading out of the Japanese maple garden, you can see that we anchored the ends with some conifers, which is awesome, especially because here in the Northeast, when everything else is bare, we will have some pretty interest in the garden to look at all winter. And heading this way is where we created some new beds recently. So this we called our well bed, where we put the rock that covered our well head. And I'm so glad that we got this project done this fall, because in the spring, when all of these plants emerge nice and fresh, this area is going to look so pretty. And the transplants and the things that we planted are looking really good. We've also had a few days of rain so far this fall, which is helping things settle in. In fact, this carex that we transplanted over from the Japanese maple garden, the transplants took really well. And the rain, again, has been helping them, and they're looking really pretty. And you can see that if you watch that video, I was able to get 5 carex plants out of just 2 that I had planted over in my Japanese maple garden. And this actually started with one small plant division that a friend from my garden club had given me. And right here in the corner, we have a Twombly's Red Sentinel Japanese maple. And it is a more columnar growth habit Japanese maple. We planted it here in this spot last season, and I really love this red coloring. It held on to this red color all season long, and it looks really pretty against the yellow backdrop that the woods have right now in the fall. And in our no-dig bed, we still have a perennial that's blooming. I actually planted it. It was one of the last plants that I planted in this area. I purchased it blooming, and it's still blooming. So it's been blooming for over a month now, and it is the Amazing Daisies Banana Cream 2. Look how large this daisy bloom is. It has 2 layers of petals, and it starts off with a buttery yellow color and then it goes more white. It is really pretty, and there's still some buds, as you can see. So it's going to be blooming at least for a little bit longer. And right across from this bed, we have our hillside border. And this is looking really good. We do still need to throw down some mulch. You can see that this area does have fabric. This is the only part of the garden where we use landscape fabric because it's suppressing some really gnarly weeds. And I also want this border to be really low maintenance, and I'm just going to have some shrubs and conifers planted here. And one thing that is still looking really beautiful is our heptacodium, or our Seven Suns flower, and this is the Temple of Bloom by Proven Winners. Look at these gorgeous sepals that have this red coloring. First it bloomed with white flowers, and then as the blooms drop, this is what the sepals or bracts look like, and it looks like red blooms. This is an absolutely gorgeous shrub, which you can use as a large shrub or you can train into a small tree. And so far, this color this year is so beautiful that I'm in love with it. And here we are on the south side of our house. This is the foundation side where I have just some foundational shrubs. And I don't show this area often, but this shrub is looking gorgeous right now. This is the Pearl Glam Beauty Berry by Proven Winners. It has this dark foliage that's already aging to some of its fall coloring, but look at these beautiful purple berries. Such a pretty shrub. Now, I bought this about 5 or 6 years ago in a small 4-inch container, and it has grown beautifully. But as this old gold juniper has grown, it's kind of reaching over and taking over some of the space that the beauty berry is in. So it will need to be moved because now these are crashing into each other. And I'm going to wait until very late winter before it breaks dormancy and the ground has thawed so that I can move it somewhere else in the garden. But this beauty berry is absolutely stunning with this dark foliage and the contrast with these purple berries. And another standout in the fall is our lawn. It has this beautiful lush green coloring and no effort on my part except for George mowing it, but it really loves these cool temperatures. And so this is another patio bed that we added last year, I believe, or the year before, and it is more shady. So this is morning sun, afternoon shade. And during the fall switcheroo video, I also took out a Bartzella Ito peony that I had in this corner, and we moved it to our new well bed, and the spot was open. So I added this fern here. This is a crested surf Japanese painted fern, and I had 5 of them all together. So I put 3 in a swoop underneath this amber ghost Japanese maple, and I alternated it with some of this capture the flag, and I believe this is a tiarella. Let's see. It's a heucherella. So it's a cross between a heuchera and a tiarella, but it's a really pretty yellow coloring with some red veining. So I did the painted fern, the heucherella, another fern, heucherella, and fern. So you can see I did this kind of this swoop because this is going to be shady in this corner. So I think that these perennials will do really well here. And then we planted my clearance hydrangea. This is a macrophylla called the Eclipse. It's by First Editions, and it has this really pretty dark foliage and a large rosy pink bloom head. And right behind you can see the oak leaf hydrangea that we planted. This is the Gatsby Glow Girl. It's a new 2026 release by Proven Winners. It's a more compact oak leaf hydrangea, getting to be 3 to 4 feet tall and wide. Already has its fall color. It gets these really pretty burgundy leaves. I've also placed some more perennials that need planting. These are some Brunnera. This is the Jack of Diamonds Brunnera, and they're just waiting to be planted, so they don't look their best, but they will look really pretty next spring when they put out their blooms that look like forget-me-nots. They're like these really pretty dainty blue blooms, and then the leaves get really large and have a silvery color, which will be a really pretty contrast to this blood-good Japanese maple. But let me show you those potted maples that I talked about earlier. And coming around, you can see that my pile in Steph's home nursery is getting a little bit smaller. So I think one more full planting day, I should take care of the rest of these plants. But here are the potted Japanese maples that really shine in fall. This one in particular is a beauty. It is just now a little bit past its prime, but I'm going to pop up a picture of what it looks like when it is in peak coloring. This is the dancing peacock. And not only does it have a really pretty leaf, which is unique, but it gets this vibrant cherry red color in fall. The other times of the year, it is just green, but it kind of just fades in the background. But then when fall comes around and it gets that vibrant red, it is so worth growing this maple just for that show. Gorgeous. And right here, we have another one that's really pretty. We bought this in the fall, I believe, back in 2023 or 24. George and I had gone to the Farmer's Daughter, which is a nursery in Rhode Island, and bought this. This is a pastel Japanese maple. In the spring, this one is a beauty as well. In the spring, it gets almost like a light peach coloring. And in the fall, it gets this really beautiful red. So we have already decided that this is going to get planted in the landscape in the spring. And we have a spot that we're thinking about planting it in. So another beauty. And for our anniversary this year, I gifted George with this one. This is a Makawa spring seedling. And the difference between a seedling and a grafted tree is that this one was grown from a Japanese maple seed, a seed of the Makawa, which is the parent plant. And it gets these really beautiful peach coloring in the spring, and it's very similar to a variety called the Mystic Makawa. And so this one also gets a lot of that beautiful peach coloring, and you can see that it gets a little bit of an orangey red color in the fall. Also really pretty, has that characteristic Makawa stacked leaf pattern. It's just a really pretty and interesting tree as well. Now it is still not super cold, so we're able to leave these potted maples out here for at least a couple more weeks, but probably by the time November hits or mid-November, they're going to be transitioned into the shed where we store my potted roses and my potted maples for the winter. I do have a video that I created on what our routine is with those, how often we water them, when we bring them back out, etc., that I can also link below. We started to already bring in some of our cushions because we had a couple of days of a lot of rain, and when they get saturated this time of year with the cool temperatures, they take a long time to dry. But I want to show you this begonia. This is one that I am going to bring inside and keep as a potted plant for the winter. It is actually blooming right now. Look at this. Isn't that pretty? It has the most gorgeous foliage. Let me show you the tag. It's in here. This is the Space Age Black Hole Begonia by Proven Winners. It is an annual that you can grow outside during the summertime, but I've also seen these types of begonias be grown as houseplants, and so I'm going to give that a shot. But some of my patio plants from the summer are still looking okay. It is late in the season, so of course things are starting to, die back. But look at these ferns. They're actually super happy with these cool temperatures. They look absolutely gorgeous. And these are the pots that I cleaned out for fall. The lobelia is still looking okay. The nasturtiums are starting to fill in a little bit, but they're pretty much done at this point as well. I still have these two conifers that are going to be planted. George and I finally decided on the spot for them. But look at some of these annuals. So this is a Biden's. This is a new variety that will be available next year in 2026. It's the Campfire Red Ember. And it actually has this orange coloring that lended itself really well to a fall planter. Right beside it, I have some of this double vintage coral, Super Belle or Calibrachoa, still blooming and looking pretty. Some of the fireworks ornamental grass, and another new 2026 release of a sweet potato vine called Medusa that still looks really good. So I'm really happy with the way this grouping is looking. To have plants that still look this good heading into the week of Halloween is amazing. Some osteospermum that's also still blooming. And there's something across the way there in the shed beds that I want to show you that I missed earlier. So let's go take a look. This beauty right here. This is a late blooming perennial, blooms in October. It is a mum. It's called the Sheffield mum. And it has these pretty daisy-like blooms in this very pale pink color with a hint of peach. And it's been blooming for a really long time, at least 3 weeks now. Super pretty for late season color. To have flowers in October heading into Halloween, I mean, I can't it's just gorgeous. And the bees love it. And then some of the petunias that I have here are still blooming as well. Now this is a new petunia for 2026 as well. It's called the Supertunia Vista Cool Jazz. It's a very light, kind of like an orchid purple pink color. And here in my patio bed, some things are still looking pretty at the end of October. This is a drift of the New Look Dusty Miller that I actually started from seed, and I really love that silver color. My drift of the Firelight Tidbit Hydrangea still have a little bit of that rosy color to them, still looking really pretty. And these dahlias. These are the Mystic Illusion Dahlias by Proven Winners. They are an annual. We haven't had a real hard frost yet, so there are still tons of buds on this dahlia. And it gets these really pretty light yellow blooms, and it has dark foliage. So very pretty. I've already put it on my list to grow again next year because I really like them. I am going to have to learn how to overwinter my fountain. If you are newer to the channel, I did add this fountain in May. We had a video called Garden Glow Up, and we love it. It's so beautiful, but this is the first year with a real concrete fountain, so we'll be doing that soon as well. And look at this salvia, still looking so pretty. This is the Rockin' Playing the Blues salvia, still blooming. I am not going to cut it out. I'm going to let it be. I've heard some people say that up to a zone 7, they've had them return for them in their garden. So we are here in a zone 6B, 7A. So I'll see what happens with this next spring. But let's go ahead and take a look at a few other things. And now we are in the front yard, and I have a couple of borders with a few things that are still looking pretty. I have an annual in the front here. This is the Superbina Pink Cashmere, still blooming. You can see in the background there, I have the Casablanca lilies that have some fall color with some yellow and brown leaves. So I do need to go through and cut the rest of those back soon. And here in our main walkway bed, this is the Carly Rose grass, also looking really pretty as it arches over the walkway. And these sunflowers, which were really gorgeous this season, are finally done. They still have some blooms, but they're not pumping out any new blooms. They're starting to fade, but the bees are still all over them. This is the Suncredible sunflowers. And the Gomphrena, it didn't do as well this year as I had hoped. I had a viewer send me an email that there is something that happens when you plant sunflowers with other plants. It sort of competes for nutrients, and there's something that happens where the other plants won't thrive. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but it could be the reason why this Gomphrena didn't do that well. But also because these got so large, the sunflowers, they're shading them. So these also have to get cut back, but I am going to collect some seeds from my Atomic Purple Gomphrena because I'm going to grow them again next year. I absolutely love these. Oh, and even my spirea, this is the candy corn. It turns bright yellow, you can see, in the fall. And it's also starting to lose some of its leaves, but has really pretty fall coloring. And that's pretty much all that's going on in the front borders. My front porch pots still looking okay, but we had disaster strike with my son's Halloween animatronics recently. When we got a lot of rain the other day, we also got this huge gust of wind that came through. It knocked Scully down and his head broke off. And our 12-year-old was devastated, so we had to order him a new skeleton head the week before Halloween. Hopefully it comes in on time. But now it's just kind of like a headless horseman for the time being. We just got a package, and we're pretty sure it's the replacement for our son's skeleton head that broke. It is. So lucky that this came in 2 days before Halloween. So it's actually dark out now, but George is going to head out and see if he can install it. And our son's going to be really thrilled to know that that came in on time. So we'll show you what that looks like now that it's dark out. It's going to look really cool. And back to the tour. But look at this double vintage coral super bell or calibrachoa. Looking gorgeous. This had budworms a few weeks into maybe August. I sprayed it with some BT a couple of times, and now it's looking gorgeous. Now this border here, you can see everything is pretty much done for the season, but what is still looking really pretty is these bunny grasses that I have in the front. I absolutely love ornamental grasses for the fall garden because they just look so pretty. And because these are shorter, they don't obstruct your view. They stay nice and compact, which makes them perfect for the front of a border. I have another one on this side. This was one plant that I divided into two. I had purchased it at the nursery. It was a 3-gallon container, broke it in half. The first season it was small, but then look how big it is now, just 2 seasons later. This is the same bed, and I'm going to walk through the back here and I'm going to show you a couple of things. So I actually just noticed that I have some blue globe thistle, also known as echinops, that is actually starting to bloom again, which is crazy. It looks like the plant grew even larger, and now I have some more blooms, which is so exciting because I really love this plant. I keep collecting seeds and growing new ones each year. But I wanted to give you an update on this beautiful conifer that we planted this spring. Now, recently we had a big problem in this corner, literally a huge Colorado blue spruce that was supposed to be a dwarf and grew too large for this space. It was crashing into our house. So in the spring we had some tree work done, and the arborists cut down that Colorado blue spruce. And as a replacement, we planted this really beautiful Isley conifer. This is the Engelmani's Bushes Lace Spruce. It is gorgeous. It's going to be about 20 to 25 feet in height, so it will miss the corner of the house. It will fill out this space. It only gets to be about 6 feet in diameter, but it has a weeping or downward sweeping habit. So I think it's going to look absolutely beautiful in this space. And actually, we just recently planted another blue spruce in the garden. George, I don't know if you can zoom into it, but we did take some footage and we'll be sharing that in an upcoming video. It's a Isley Monte blue spruce, gorgeous. It is a more compact version of a blue spruce, and I really love the spot that we picked out for it. Here in the Northeast, we're in New England and Massachusetts. We are so fortunate to have this beautiful backdrop of fall foliage behind our garden, and I enjoy it so much every fall. But this will likely be the last garden tour of 2025. I've really had a fun growing season with all of you, sharing some of the projects that we've completed. I still have a couple of things to get in ground and a few more things to wrap up, but we are starting to transition into our at-home series. So if you've been here for a couple of years, you know that in the wintertime, we'll do a couple of episodes that include a little bit of gardening and some home life. I will share some shopping, some recipes, and whatever else might be going on. So if you haven't caught one of those episodes yet, I do have a playlist I can link below. And usually the main character is our Italian Greyhound, Rocco. He's been extra naughty lately, and we'll be sharing that in our next episode. So thank you all so much for spending your time with us, and I'll catch you in the next one.